Well, hello again. This is going to be the rules version of what I just did. So, like I said in the last video, the thing that sometimes happened again, and some proposals for the State Central Committee that fell through the cracks. Well, someone fished them out of the cracks, and so now there's a few more things on the end of the packet PDFs. So now I'm going to be doing the one for rules. There are probably like 3 or 4 from what I saw on the list. I didn't really read too much into them. I do know that we last left off with 2025-32, and I apparently really didn't like that one because I said, hard no, beware of any men who have to be told no more than once. Ooh, okay, so I imagine that 2025-33 is what we're looking for next, as soon as I can get everything. See, here's the PDF again, and we're looking for amending the more delegate selection stuff. See, I was afraid of this. I was afraid of this when I was preparing for the Chalice meeting 2 years ago. Is that once people figured out, oh yeah, this is the part we can change the delegate selection stuff, and this and going to these SEC meetings is exactly how to do it. Yeah, there would be followers on. People would be following the path that I took. So there's other stuff, and it's not completely descriptive, but yeah, we're gonna be looking for 2025-33 here. 2025-33 is what we're looking for. 32. Okay, so here we are, 2025-33. (2025-33), and we are how far in the video? 235 in the video. Okay. Amending rules for selection of delegates. That's not the full name of it. I want the name to be shorter myself too, but yeah, it's got a proper name. Come on. Anyway, Article 1, Section 1 and 6, and blah 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 by Adams. Oh, we were just you know what? This is probably what got these things out of the cracks. Is probably somebody from Adams County saying, "Hey, what happened to my stuff?" It's like, oh, oops, that kind of thing happens, because as it turns out, we're all human. Anyway, to be presented by Keith Markley, yada yada. Overview: a reason in order to properly facilitate growth and strengthen the voice of our rural counties. Okay, whenever somebody says a phrase like that, I'm automatically a little bit on edge because some fairly unrepresentative and fairly unrepublican things have been advanced under such a reason. So I have to tread slowly here now. Okay, while keeping the IDGOP representation open and strong, following changes our process are proposed. Oh, I'm using the weak voice, huh? Anyway, the legislature married delegate may be the delegate. Okay, this person is definitely ignorant of convention history in general, but also the history of how the delegate selection rules came to be, and generally what was the expectation before. This is in fact, I happen to know. See, if you go into my channel here, you'll find 2 videos that have a bright, deep red thumbnail for. They both look pretty similar because one is just an update of the other on the delegate selection and the law, and I go through a lot of things through time as they happen in both videos. Now, one thing that it's not apocryphal, but the veracity of this has been challenged over the years. It definitely did happen like this though. The after 34507 was repealed and replaced with what we now know today, where the law basically says the political parties in the state of Idaho are just going to be making their delegate selection rules themselves. And what happened with the Republican end of that is that we just imported in what was in before and then made changes that we thought were necessary for the Republican brand. This is largely what was happening under that first meeting that happened under Marge Minor, who also happened to be the first female chair of the Idaho Republican Party. You know, under that first meeting, that's basically what they did. They just drafted the rules, basically from what the rules were, at least supposed to be. Now, at the time, also, there was sort of this unwritten expectation. It would kind of just sort of be rule changed out of existence, you know, as the decades rolled on. So, you know, these delegate selection rules, they were originally written, at least the way that we know them, in 1972 with Marge Minor and everything. Now, the unwritten expectation, I was just about to get to it, was before getting myself distracted. There's the reason why there was the base number of 3 with both counties and, well, it's sort of a dual reason, but there is the reason why there was the number 3 instead of some other base number. Where and back then it wasn't counties that had the 3 plus another number. It was LDs that had 3 plus a number. The number 3, the reason why the number 3 is there is because even back then we had two legislators from each LD going to the House and one to the Senate. And so in most places and in Idaho, it was sort of the expected, we give our legislators, our newly ones that just came out of the primary, well, and also the timing of that was a little bit different back then, but anyway, we give them, these LD committees were at least expected to give these 2 House candidates and a senator candidate the right of first refusal to go to the because of how conventions worked back then. And it was more or less after that it was sort of, okay, that's not written in, and also if the committee so chooses now, under having these new delegate selection rules, that the committee can now choose otherwise, and it could be whoever they want as long as it's from that LD and they're a Republican. And also now we have a requirement of, the delegate selection form that's supplied by the state. This is kind of, this highlighted bit is undoing some of that. And what I mean though there is that it's often the chair and a couple of other people going from some far-flung county or LD, or really, really rural. And I mean, it doesn't just cover it to just say rural, because there are some really far-flung parts of this state. It's just how people settled this state. So sometimes it very well ends up being the chair of that LD and a couple of other people. But that it wasn't specific, that was written specifically, I cannot talk tonight. That was specifically not wrote in because the choice, if we're going to be removing that whole right of first refusal, is then directly up to the decision of the Legislative District Committee itself, where it could choose any of its residents that were Republican and a qualified elector, basically, and any other reasonable criteria that they could be putting on, like, say, can you actually travel to the convention, etc., etc. Those kinds of things. These are the kinds of things that you would definitely be discussing in a reorganization meeting, at least nowadays. This takes the power away from the LD committee and consolidates it into one person in a very un-Republican way. The decision on who represents that LD or that county is supposed to be made by that LD or that county's central committee. This is wrong. This is repugnant to the Republican philosophy. But I'm going to continue. Also, the grammar doesn't really jive when you're making this. Any nominee for the... Okay. Oh. So basically, you just want to put in that, and everything else is subordinate to that. Yeah, that's called top-down. We don't do top-down. We do grassroots up in this party. And if you are insistent on otherwise, you can go join the Idaho Democrats. Okay, so this is just more weirdly correcting the grammar to something that's actually incorrect. And then each county shall select. Are you insane? Each county shall select 5. Okay, so I just explained why there was the 3. At least where we get the 3 from, because that was from an expectation that was 5 and then 5 plus. That's not... No, this is bad. Wait a minute. Oh, and you're decreasing the LD representation too? No. Hell no. Well, hard no, I guess I should say. Where's the... I'm sorry, I'm saying nothing while doing this. Okay, so in my full response, that I have, I'm not working with 2 displays right now anyway. For 2025-33, I'm putting down hard no. This rule is both ignorant of delegate selection history and attempts to write Republican philosophy out of the delegate selection rules. actually, you know, attempts. I'm sorry, I wrote some incorrect grammar here. Attempts to write, and I continue with, this will decrease representation by way of base numbers and will destabilize the Idaho Republican Party. I cannot, in good conscience, endorse this. And there that is. Okay, so I'm going to move on before I get angry about that one. Next one is 2025-34. And we are 1538 in the video. Okay. 34. Adding Article 2020. Adding Article 22, legislative assistance. Again, by the dude from Adams County. Okay. Proposed rule in addition is to provide to our representatives and tasking them with proposed legislation in real time during the legislative to increase grassroots participation. Okay, this is either really good or really bad, because this isn't the first proposal like this. Let's see. The order shall be amended as follows. Okay, this is kind of. Assistance. The I shall assist our Republican movement by providing a platform for legislative input to be accessible as part. Am I having a stroke? The IDGOP, okay, so that's bad form to just be abbreviating it like that in the rules. Shall assist our Republican legislators, okay, also weird way to put it when you're writing a rule, by providing a platform for legislative input to be accessible as part of the IDGOP to our representatives. What do you mean by this? Do you mean that our platform should be accessible to our legislators? Because that's already a thing. Or are you saying that legislators should have input on some nebulous thing you haven't defined yet? Okay. This is already sounding like it's badly written, which that's not a good sign. Providing a standard for all legislative input by bill number, which shall say the same. Oh, you're trying to engineer a situation in which a few small people can speak for the party on any legislative matter, which is an inherently dangerous thing to actually do once you think about it. The way that the party expresses its views, those things are already in place. You know, this is mainly through resolutions, but it can also do press releases, and the chairman can get out and say stuff. You know, there are ways. This down here, it looks like this could just be manipulated by a few different people without any input from the party, which this don't. Okay. Providing funding for the maintenance and upkeep of a website by What are you getting at? There is a website that is maintained by the Idaho Republican Party, and I believe the budget item for that has always been talked about in our summer and winter meetings. I don't know what they're getting at here. Providing information to current legislators on how to access. I'm not going to be reading the rest of this. This is not a coherent concept unless there's something in here that I'm missing. Providing where to. This is not a coherent concept. Okay, so my entire reaction to this is not a coherent concept. Hard no. Either the author is fairly ignorant about what happens with the state party website, or is trying to create something which is out of the control of our grassroots volunteers. Both are bad. And I'm gonna move on because I feel like my time has been wasted with that. The next one is 2025-35. And where are we in the video? This is 2301. Okay, and let's see. Amending Article X 18, Section 1, Butte County, Jeff Bird, and Nick Contos. The simple clarification of the IDGOP is important to protect the party organization from sabotage by bad faith actors. The Republican Party of Idaho welcomes anyone who encourages all who share our values to affiliate, vote, and but is during any of one ought to have documented history of for a minimum of 1 year. This issue has come up several times in Idaho where people demanded to be allowed to fill party leadership vacancies only after changing their affiliate days or moments earlier. They're not wrong. Let's see what happened. Let's see what's going on here. Article 18, Section 1. Okay, see, I'm the original author of Article 18. And that was one of the things that was going through the last summer meeting that we had in Pocatello, in 2021. All members are continuously in the for 1 year prior. And be a qualified elector in. Okay, wait a second. See, I think you bit off more than you can chew here. I like what you're trying to do, but there might be a problem. All members, appointed officers, and elected officers in the SCI. I wrote this stuff. Legislature must have Republican Party affiliation continuously in the state of Idaho 1 year prior and be a qualified. Okay. There's a problem here. Is that what the law says about this kind of thing? I think it's Idaho Code 34104. qualified electors, and then the later parts in Title 34, chapters 5, 6, and 7, they all make reference to just simply being a qualified elector and being Republican. This stuff down here technically goes against that. Now, if we make a rule that is technically incompatible with the law, well, it says in both our state rules and also in the law that the law takes precedent. It's just the way it's going to go. See, here's the thing, is that in order to make a rule that was both likely to pass and enforceable, is that I had to write all of these different things into the same sentence. So if you picked out the ones that were required by law to not have a 1-year requirement first, you picked all those out and then just said these things that don't intersect with the law, well then yes, you have to have, and that could go for a lot of things. That could go for a lot of things. This would be like a lot of the elected positions inside of the Republican Party. It would be a lot of those. Yeah, see, I want to agree with this. I can't in good conscience do it. Is there anything else to that one? Okay, so the next one is 36. We'll get to that one in a moment. This is incongruent. If I could spell incongruent, that would be R. I did just press the Oh. Okay, incongruent with Idaho Code. Some parts of Title 34 5, 6, and 7 further Okay, so my full reaction to this is incongruent with Idaho Code. Some parts of Title 34, Chapters 5, 6, and 7 specify requirements that don't allow for further details. I want to support this, but given what's in the Idaho Code, I cannot in good conscience do so. And just for the record, I've said it many, many times over the years that I think it's disgusting that, I think it's disgusting just the level of control those parts of our electoral law have on private partisan activity. It definitely shouldn't be that way, but it is. And we should be changing the law before we change any of this stuff. And yes, I know, I'm aware that'll start the cycle of suck where the legislature doesn't want to change the law because it hasn't heard from the interested parties. The interested parties don't want to push for anything because there has been no change to the law, and it just keeps on going around and around. I wish you well, and I wish you good luck in breaking that cycle. 2025-36. 2025-36. Where are we in the video? 3031 in the video? All right, so 2025 rather -36 is from Butte County again, amending Article 18, Section 2. Oh, the same part of it. Prevents an obvious conflict. Idaho has thousands of great conservative people. There's no need for the same person to occupy both and party official. We should not allow officials who serve the party to be in a position that most party's motives might be conflicted with party's goals and their own election ambitions. The Republican Party organization is intended to serve the voters by advancing their platform values, not just be a useful election tool for candidates. Somebody's really bitter about something. This issue has been prevalent in Idaho at times with criticism of our parties who advise themselves, endorse themselves, and even consider censure of themselves. Okay, yeah. Okay, so they want to insert a Section 2 and bump down the remaining sections, which, fine. Remember, again, I'm the original author of that article. Elected federal, state, or local government shall be ineligible to hold or a precinct committeeman position within the Republican Party while serving a government office. Okay. Those holding Republican Party. Okay. This will go against friend and foe alike. The reasoning is sound, and from what they stated up there, it does sound like they've thought the matter through. And they are talking just about internal party positions, right? As far as elected federal shall be ineligible to hold an officer position in secretary within the Republican Party organization while serving in a government office nominated by the party. Oh. You're going a little bit hardcore than I think is actually necessary here. Those holding Republican Party offices shall automatically vacate the position when a declaration of candidacy for party nomination has been filed. I would... If it were me writing this, gun to my head and I had to write this, I myself would change this to upon election of such office. That way we can still get past the ick factor in some of this, and also not be in a position where this person is serving in a post that will also censure their public office self, because so I don't want to say no on this. It's just something in the back of my head. There's just something back there. It's just screaming. I don't know what it is, though. I'm going to say passive agree on this, but I want to hear disagree, but I want to hear the presentation on this. I think I'm being pretty fair. But you know what? Let's deliberate on this. Oh, this is the last one? Oh, hallelujah. Okay. So those last two have gotten a little but okay. I have now just completed all of the packets again. Now that we got everything that fell through the cracks. I'm gonna post this up momentarily. Yes, as I've stated multiple times now, I'm going to be in Pocatello. If you want to have a good discussion on this, go right ahead. If you want to harass me about any of this, do not go ahead. I will make a much bigger problem for you than you're trying to make for me. Let's see. Anything else? No. If any of this you want to talk about, but before when either of the rules or resolutions committee starts, I bet I won't be hard to find. Let's talk about this, and if you want to say anything in the comments, just the comment drop me a line or put something in the comments below. Hallelujah, I'm done. Peace, strength, and wisdom to all of you. Blessings.